Nice. That was impressive.
So you saw it.
I saw it and heard it. It was great.
Didn't work on my iPad. Anyway, hey everybody, this is Derek McCaw. But you knew that if you've made it this far. This is the first episode of Fanboy Planet Team Up. I guess today.
This is the first episode?
This is the first time I've done it this way.
You never told me this was the first episode. Now I feel like I'm underdressed and not prepared.
No. For you, I wore a kind of a blockbuster because Craig Price is the host of. Oh, love that one.
That's a Wonder Woman manatee.
What could be better? So Craig is the host of Matinee Heroes, a podcast that you had me let me guest 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
A couple times. I know you did Strange Brew with us.
Yeah.
And that was a Patreon, so not a lot of people heard that one because that's exclusive. But then you came back and did another one, I believe, with Alan.
I did Godzilla King of the Monsters.
That's right. We had a great time with Godzilla.
I'm themed and connected, Greg. We were lucky enough to share a panel at Gallifrey 1. Did you realize, just to think about that, the history that was made at Gallifrey 1?
I did. I was there. I know. And I was actually, I took part of that drinks thing.
Yeah.
And had drinks with Chris. And there was whispers there that was going to happen. It wasn't blatant, but I had heard here or there. So when it was announced, I was like, didn't they already announce that? Because I had already heard mumbles of it while I was there. But that's fantastic that Chris is coming back because he's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I pre-ordered the first volume. I didn't want to commit further than that yet, but because it's you go onto the Big Finish site and it's easy to drop $500 on audio dramas that you're just when do you have the time, especially now that I'm commuting anywhere or driving.
Just going by their table, going by their table's crazy because you don't even know where to start because there's like 9 million CDs there, and you're like, well, where do you start? And like, well, who do you like? And then once you get there, now it's down from 9 million to only 500,000. So who do you like there? It's like crazy. And then crossovers. And it's easy to drop a big chunk of change on Big Finish. Yeah,
absolutely. But we're not here to talk Big Finish. We're here to talk about your summer game show, which is Matinee Heroes presents. I can see the screen behind you. Let me actually make you full screen so that I think it will show up. There it is. Matinee Heroes presents Cast Off.
Yeah, my ring light is at the wrong spot, but it's just enough so you can. It's right now. It's presents. I'm working my ass off. So Matinee Hero Cast Off. Yeah, you've been on the show, and what we did is we took.
I lost horribly, by the way. Everyone listening, I failed utterly. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, you did okay, but you've also been on our regular podcast. So Matinee Heroes, its format. One of the things we do with every movie is we recast every movie. And we recast it not because we think the movie's bad, it's because we love the movie and like going to see Othello. We want to see different people try it. And who do you think would be good? So it's a way for us to talk more about the characters in depth. And by talking about what the character is and what the character needs to be and what actor could actually do that. So we took that segment, I pulled it out, and what I was going to do was use it. It had already been accepted at several Comic-Cons throughout the nation as a panel. I do a lot of Comic-Cons like Gallifrey 1. The last one I did was the last one ever anywhere was Fayetteville, Arkansas, where I was fortunate enough to interview the cast of Twin Peaks. There was about 11 or 12 of them there. It was really fun, but that was it. And then like the next day, everything shut down. But I had a bunch of different cons that I was going to be doing and moderating at, but also doing this game show live in front of a studio audience. But life happened.
Different cons that I was going to be doing and moderating at, but also.
Oh, and I'm on quite a delay.
I know there was bad feedback on my part.
Okay.
Forgive that. That's an experiment I'll never do again.
Well, so I turned our most popular segment that a lot of people love into a game show that I was going to use, but since it wasn't being used, I thought I'd go virtual with it in practice, and thus Cast Off was launched. And then about 6 weeks in, everybody was really excited about it, especially the people participating in it. So we actually created a playoff. So we took 8 weeks to play the season, so to speak, and then those 8 winners were then. I asked them if they would participate in a playoff, and they did, and we are. And our final is coming up August 23rd, 6 p.m. Pacific. We are going to be doing a great movie, which we'll announce on Tuesday, the 18th. I don't want to give any spoilers, but they'll have a very short window to recast 7 people from a very popular movie, and we have several judges who pick the best actor for each one, and whoever gets the most points wins. It's been very fun.
And there is the one thing I don't think you mentioned is, maybe that's what tripped me up, is that you want them also to be sort of themed. If you're going to recast across, no,
not for the cast-off. The cast-off is competition-wise, and so sometimes if you do a theme, the first 2 people are great, but the last 4 people, because you have to fit them with a theme, don't really work that well.
Then is there season 2, and can I come back then? Because
of course, yeah. See, you misconstrued the actual podcast, which you don't have to do a theme for the podcast either. We use Doctor Who rules from Gallifrey 1. Anyone from space and time. So if you want Jimmy Stewart to be in a scene with, I don't know, Emma Thompson, if those 2 actors fit the roles, that'd be perfect. So it's really about who's the best actor for that role, and then each person gets a point, and whoever gets the most points win. But on the actual podcast, it's more of, if you have a theme, you can do that. That's more of a fun way of doing this. It's not a competition on the actual audio podcast.
Okay, I'll be more competitive next time then, if when season 2 happens.
Yes.
Although I maintain my film noir recast of, what the heck movie was that? It was
you put me on the spot.
Mad Max Fury Road.
Mad Max. Oh, see, yeah. Well, you weren't the only one that went with a theme. We had someone who did the 1950s and actually made Peter Sellers 2 characters.
Fair.
Well, it is, but it didn't fit the. I mean, you got someone who's going to be legitimately great at that role, and then Peter Sellers, who's going to be possibly great, and then do another character who he might be, in theory it sounded good, but then in competition, totally different animal. You're going for points. You're going for the win. You're going for the best, not necessarily for the greatest theme.
Where can people go to watch Matinee Heroes cast off?
MatineeHeroes.com/castoff. You can go there, and that has links to the YouTube. You can go to twitch.tv/Matinee Heroes. We got everything Matinee Heroes except for YouTube. It's on YouTube. It's just you go through the link on MatineeHeroes.com because we haven't got the custom link yet. Someday, maybe season 2 we'll have the custom link, but we still need a lot more subscribers.
All right.
Look, you're doing all kinds of things.
I'm trying. I forgot to ask that ahead of time, so we'd be ready to just go. Everybody go to that, and it's a great site as well. There's a lot of back content as well. So to move past cast off is the other thing I want to talk about with you is, what do we do in a summer? You have run a site like I do that depends on pop culture, and this has been an interesting year for pop culture.
There's been a lot of goods and bads. I mean, just remember, Tiger King wouldn't be nearly as big if it hadn't been everybody sequestered and watched it. It would have been just a weird thing that happened on TV.
Yeah. So are you categorizing that as a good thing or a bad thing?
I'm just saying it's a thing.
You are chaotic neutral. Okay.
It's like pop culture news. Some of it's good and some of it's bad. And some of it doesn't mean a damn thing.
So what for you? What was the movie you were most looking forward to in the summer of 2020? That is, who knows when it's going to come out.
Obviously the thing to say is Tenet, because Nolan's great and whatever he does, but I'm upset that the Marvel movies are, I was looking forward to Black Widow. I was looking forward to Top Gun, even though I'm not a Miles Teller fan. I was gonna swallow my pride and hold my nose and watch that movie just to see Tom Cruise do it again. But when it comes to summer movies, I try not to plan too much, only because my summers get busy. I mean, they're not. This year was the exact opposite. If you planned anything, it's gone. But with me, my summers get so busy with conventions and everything that I usually don't get to see movies when they come out until a week or two later. So I've got so many things I have to watch. I mean, with the podcast, my co-host Alan Cerny is a film reviewer. He's kind of our curator, and he picks the movies, about half the movies. And so about a third of the time, maybe a quarter of the time, it's a movie I've never seen before. So we just did Angels with Dirty Faces. And I haven't seen that movie in 25 years, and that movie's almost 100 years old. And we had to find Korean DVDs online. We thought we were buying legitimate DVDs, but when we got them, they were burners. And so,
of Angels with Dirty Faces?
Yes, it was a legitimate movie. It was just that we accidentally involved ourselves in piracy. So
I think that didn't happen. Anybody listening from...
we bought them legitimately. And when we received them, we were lied to.
Okay. So, all right.
So that's all. That's all I'm going to say. We watched it, and I would return it if I could, but I don't think those people exist anymore.
Well, but that is interesting at this point, as Matinee Heroes been around so long enough that, I think when the call went out and I suggested Godzilla, was like the reward summer blockbusters. Are you out of them? And what's going to happen if Hollywood cannot? Because you're going back to the Angels with Dirty Faces, classic film.
Yeah, but that was a very special. August is Alan and my birthday. So my birthday's August 23rd. Alan's is August 8th. Every year on our birthdays, we pick any movie we want, regardless of the format.
Okay.
And so Alan picked Angels with Dirty Faces because he absolutely loves that movie. And it's a great movie, but that's why. I mean, I picked Hunt for Red October because I absolutely love that movie. But we don't do new movies. It's not that we don't do recent movies. We just don't do brand new movies because Alan is a reviewer. I am not. I was when I lived in Houston, but since I don't live there anymore, I don't have access because in Los Angeles you have to have like 10 million followers to get a screener, and I am no longer in that special group. So if Alan sees a movie I haven't seen it, I can't talk about it because I haven't seen it. So we try to.
Will there be a Matinee Heroes gap? If we don't have any 2020 summer blockbusters, what happens to Matinee Heroes in 2021?
No. We just keep going. There's so many movies in the history of the world that we love. That's the great thing about Matinee Heroes is because we've got 4 or 5 years ready to go before a new movie even has to come out. Because we haven't even touched the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We haven't done any Harry Potter movies. So we've got loads of stuff because we're not reliant on having to be the movie that came out this weekend.
Well, I hope that it's not 4 or 5 years before the next time we have summer blockbusters. But do you think 2?
I think probably half of next year is going to be difficult. I think you might get some overseas movies being made from like New Zealand and Australia possibly, but it's going to be you're going to find it's going to be very difficult to get things going at least until early 2021, just production-wise.
And we have it upcoming is that AMC has announced that they're going to lure people back with 15-cent
just one
tickets.
day.
Just one day. That's all it takes.
Yeah, it's only one day to get Corona.
But you and I obviously live in an area where I don't think, other than drive-ins, I don't think we have any open theaters.
No, but we also live in the Florida of California. I live in Orange County, which is they don't care. They were talking about sending their kids back to school without anything, like maybe a pat on the back and a good luck, and that was it. So, and when I go out, there's not a lot of people wearing masks in Orange County, so it's pretty weird over here. So I don't expect anything to be good. I don't trust human beings, unfortunately, because we should have been done and over, kind of like Europe by now, probably about 2 months ago. But because we didn't do things in March, we're still probably going to get screwed until November, and then you throw this in with flu season.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm just trying to lay it out there. I know that October, November, December is naturally bad. Add COVID to it, we're going to have a pretty bad winter.
Well, if we get Black Widow still in November, would that be worth it?
Yeah, we'll probably get that Disney Plus. At some point, they're going to pull the trigger on it and I blame Trolls. Trolls World Tour did this. They released it because they're like, well, we'll just throw it out there, and it made big money. But that was because you hit a point where people were starving. Yeah. So you threw a breadcrumb into a mob of starving people, and everybody tried to eat that thing. So I don't think that's going to work every time, but for certain movies, I think that it'd probably be in their best interest to release. That's what I think they're doing with Mulan. Is Disney's testing the waters, and if they can make enough money with it, because they can't release it in China. That's where they were going to make the money on that movie.
Yeah.
And they can't release it in China, so it's like, well, we're not going to make that money anyways. Let's see what we can do, and let's use it as a guinea pig.
And then there's New Mutants.
Well, that one's got its own problems. That one can't, from what I understand, contractually, it cannot be released on VOD streaming situation. It has to be released in a theater, or it has to be released VOD or theater. It can't be like put on Hulu because it's built for Hulu. That movie is not going to make $1 billion. Nobody really cares or wants to see it. It'd be perfect.
I do now, just out of sheer curiosity. At this point,
I think it's
and it is
contracted
one of my favorite runs in comics.
Oh, I mean, I love Warlock. I think that he's my favorite cyborg android robot creature. But I think they're going to be on HBO Max. I think it's contractually obligated to be on HBO Max. And that if anything was built for Disney's Hulu, which is what Disney owns Hulu, New Mutants is it. And because it's all the crossovers, it's just kind of stuck. So they got that one you release as quickly as possible. Try to get as much money as you can from it, and take the loss, take the hit, and move on. It's Bill and Ted is the one that's the legitimate movie at the legitimate time, and that one's gonna dictate what happens next.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's the one I'm most excited for because it has given me the excuse to go back and watch the first two, which held up so much better than I was afraid they would. I mean, when I did your Patreon and we watched Strange Brew, and I said I had my fiance watch Strange Brew, and your first question to me was, does it work for somebody who has no idea who they are? Because
I can't tell, because I'm so entrenched in Bob and Doug. I did like the SpaceX guys. Everybody was making Bob and Doug references when those guys went up to the space station. So I was happy to see that. We are not forgotten.
No, they are not. They are not forgotten. There is, I guess, an animated cartoon as well. So, which I think there's a Bill and Ted animated cartoon somewhere.
Yeah, there was. I think so was too.
I just discovered there was a live action series I missed entirely. There's like 7 episodes that were shown on Fox.
That would make sense.
That would make sense at that time when there was a lot of that. So yeah, that one is interesting, and that's the bellwether, because I think there's enough excitement. Though, if you watch the Comic-Con at Home panel, the reality that outside of America, people don't really know who Bill and Ted are, and yet their vocabulary has certainly affected people's viewpoints on California.
Sure. But that's also Keanu Reeves, because he's spoken like that in a couple movies, so it's not just
but those are still his best. So looking forward to Bill and Ted Face the Music and seeing what happens there. Yeah, you're right. That's the test. Mulan. Is there anything else that's big that has suddenly been pushed to VOD?
Not VOD, but I know Tenet is coming out in Europe. I want to say September 3rd or something like that. September. And I think that one's going to get immediately ripped off and bootlegged if they do. It'll be interesting to see if it can survive the piracy.
Yeah. Okay. So we will see that. Again, Disney/Marvel still says November we'll have Black Widow. I think Warner Brothers still says we'll have Wonder Woman 1984. Although, in just the way everything works, all the Doritos marketing has already been Wonder Woman 1984 for 2 or 3 months, and that just makes me sad going into the grocery stores and seeing that, and all the makeups out there.
Still haven't seen Cheetah though.
Oh no, I have. I think that it's the Mattel Barbie version of Cheetah leaked the look.
Yeah, but I mean, have we seen a full, real, actual picture of Cheetah yet, or is this?
No, we have not.
Because toys are notoriously early and often wrong. So that could be an early version of Cheetah, and then thanks to Cats, they went and redid it.
Yes.
So we don't know.
I mean, I don't know if everybody else watching is aware of this, but Cats pretty much caused this whole thing. All COVID, it is because of Cats. We were doing fine as a culture and then cats.
Were we doing fine as a
No.
culture?
No, I'm just trying to find reasons to blame cats.
I mean, it's already got a bad lot in life anyways. Leave cats alone.
Although, yeah, I do want to say the one news item this week is that Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber did volunteer and has taken the beta of the so-called antidote there, because he just wants to see theater. They've got a vaccine in London out of Oxford. So I couldn't come up with a good Oxford vaccine joke, but he has.
How old is he?
He's 72 or 73.
Okay. I'm just concerned that no matter what you do with him, he's going to get sick and die.
No, because love never dies. Okay. Anyway, but he did post a photo on Thursday. He did receive the vaccine, and it's because he wants to. If he dies, he accepts that. He just wants to be part of the solution of moving forward, so live theater and live performance can happen again. And for all the other things that man has done to musical theater, I forgive him because of that much passion.
Well, as a person who does not care less about musical theater, I don't think he has decimated as much as people say, because let's be honest, even the stuff that people don't like from him made some money, and that helped Broadway in general. So let's never forget that, yes, it was schlocky, it was weird, but it drew people back to Broadway, because in the late 70s, early 80s, Broadway was struggling.
Yeah, but I'm going to still say, my bad pun notwithstanding, don't speak like that until you've watched the DVD of Love Never Dies, which I was forced to do last year. Can we do a cast-off for Love Never Dies?
I have not seen it. So we can. If you let me go watch it, I can come back.
Craig, I don't hate you enough to make you watch that DVD.
That's all right.
Although, have you done the Phantom of the Opera film? The musical?
I've seen the Phantom of the Opera live on stage. I haven't seen the film, and there's several versions of it, so I don't know which version you're talking about.
Schumacher, the musical, the.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen that. I saw I went to an actual theater and saw it. So
I'm sorry. So anyway, but the chandelier is fantastic. It's worth every penny you pay for it.
I'm not sure if you're doing Harvey Fierstein or you're doing who's the comedy writer, Bruce Valanche. I don't know which one you're doing there.
It doesn't matter. I'm an original. I just shh. Sparkle fingers, jazz hands, a little Fosse in there, just a little. So okay. So once again, August 23rd on matineeheroes.com, on your YouTube channel, on your Twitch channel. You can watch the season finale of Cast Off.
And it's the end of a 3-round playoff. So it's not just the season finale. This will wrap it up. We have Patrick Beatty from Gaggle of Geeks versus Randy from Cult 45 Podcast. They have fought their way to the championship game. So this is not just the finale. This is the championship game of Matinee Heroes presents Cast Off. They will be the best casters on the internet, whoever wins. And
that distinction will carry them for years. Very good.
Possibly, yes.
Possibly. All right. So thank you, Craig, for joining in. And I'm glad we could have this conversation.
Thank you.
To everyone else, hope you've enjoyed watching this. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of whatever our nerd programming is. Don't forget to subscribe to matineeheroes.com. Great podcast. And that's it. Use your powers for good. Watch how subtly I go to end the broadcast. Ooh, cheers. Okay, clink. Go ahead. Brought to you by Coke Zero.
I'm having a shandy.